Hi everyone, this is my last difficulty tier list of the 6, and it's my Deluxe Extreme one. So again, personal DP difficulty, even though I haven't DP'd them all, I can still give like a rough explanation, because there are a lot I'm struggling with and just mostly put in 5 or 6 star. So yeah, of course the 1 stars, again, are just easy DPs, really. So I have Freestyler, which is honestly just mostly free swipes. There's really not much going on scoring difficulty-wise. It's kind of hard to clear, but not really. Some awkward rhythms in there too. Kill V Mame Deluxe. We all know it. That was my first 100K ever. And yeah, we all know it's easy. So many free swipes. Even when it's not, they're just super easy rhythms. I haven't seen anybody say that one's difficult. 7 days, which I was actually supposed to sight read like over a year ago, so it was a huge deal. But I got 1 perfect on the stage tile going to the final stage. But regardless, easy one. That took me like a week to DP after that, so that was annoying, but fun but easy. Definitely the most complex 1 star. And actually, a fun chart. These charts aren't bad, they're just easy. Maybe bad for the extreme difficulty, but yeah. And the 2 stars, again, just slightly stepping it up. They're still easy, but not as much as the 1s. So give it to me. I actually sight read this, but I think it has a lot of tricky parts. And we're not talking about this, but the clearing difficulty, it's really hard. It has a lot of swipes, just like the standard, but it's even harder. And yeah, at least it takes out the awkward rhythms in the final stage of the standard. Has some better ones in my opinion. Hey ya or hey yeah, whatever. Really hold ticky one, I think we all know that. But it was still really early extreme DP for me. And yeah, just not that hard besides the hold ticks. I actually never got hold ticked on it, so it really wasn't hard. Has a few tricky rhythms and a lot of swipes, but really not difficult and a really good chart, especially for such an early one. Last Resort, which I was supposed to sight read, but guess what? I missed it by 4 points because of darn hold ticks, which I've suffered from, well, quite a bit. But yeah, because of that, I don't think it's too hard. I think I DP'd it like the day after, so it wasn't like too frustrating, but it still was. And then I choked out on the last note at one point. But yeah, only got hold ticked once. Rabbit's Foot, which was actually my first ever extreme perfect sight read. Really just not very difficult. Honestly, I think it might be easier to DP than the standard. Lots of swipes. They're kind of confusing as they're opposing swipes, but really not terrible for scoring. Maybe some tricky rhythms, but yeah, it's not bad. Walk This Way, which is an awesome deluxe chart. Honestly, one of my favorites. I've already played it so much. But yeah, I got it second try, so it's not that hard. And I got a 1 perfect sight read, I believe. Has a pretty unexpected solo and very extended, but so much fun. So much fun. Incredible chart. Twin'em, which I DP'd kind of early on over summer break, so I don't know how many months ago. Like 8 or 9 months ago, that would be. But yeah, honestly, I think the intro is the hardest part. But once I got that down, it really wasn't difficult. And yeah, honestly, kind of another fun chart. The 3 stars. Again, stepping things up a little bit extra, but not as bad as the 5 and 6s, or the 4s, which are just like pretty difficult, but not at the top. Gangnam Style. Really swipe intensive, confusing swipes, which, as I've said, it's hard to do those swipes while getting all perfect plus. But yeah, and it's also quite double heavy. Definitely harder than the standard. But yeah. I'm glad it made it as over a 1-star extreme for the deluxe, in my opinion. It really is more difficult. But I got a 3 perfect sight read, which was really good at the time. And yeah, I choked it at like 90 something at one point, which was frustrating, but overall not too bad. Levels, which is another really swipe intensive one. Sadly, we have way too many deluxe extremes like that, and even extremes in general at this point. But yeah, deluxe is where it's at really. This is an awful chart, besides stage 4, I think it is, which has that fun little speed up. But yeah, the rest, pretty bad. Easy to DP though. I think I did it definitely within no more than a few days. Makina vibes, however you want to say it. Another really swipe intensive one. Didn't take me too long to DP. Definitely harder than the standard, I think. Some tricky doubles and stuff, but really mostly the swipes. Mostly difficult to clear. Is You Rollin', which is much like the standard, really fun, but yeah, there are a lot of diagonal swipes which kind of hurt, but not bad. And then a bit of an extended cut. I think it's actually the full song, so it's not that long. But yeah, really fun, but pretty middle of the road. Ironically, despite it being my standard nemesis, Wynona's Big Brown Beaver ended up in the 3-star for deluxe. I DP'd it the day I got it. I think it only took me like a few hours. Definitely the first day, regardless. And yeah, it just really wasn't that bad. It has definitely a different cut, which I really like. And it's really just a delight to play. I love the solo. Just so much fun. Oh, and I forgot to mention with Is You Rollin', it's much like the standard, it just has some tricky, awkward rhythms in like stage 4. But next we have Thrift Shop, which it's a pretty embarrassing extreme, honestly. I'm not a huge fan. It's really drifty, really tricky, and some painful swipes. But not too hard to DP if you can stay on beat. Have the right sync. Something along those lines. It's really not that bad. I mean, it is. It's a terrible extreme, and a lot of people have agreed. But yeah, it's really not the worst to DP. And What You Gonna Do, which is an amazing deluxe chart, but it's really not bad. I DP'd it like, I don't know, the day I DP'd Godzilla, I believe. I had like a random streak of them. But yeah, it's really not that bad. Definitely some tricky rhythms, but overall pretty middle of the road, if not a bit easy. My Friends Over You. Yeah, I mean, it's really not that bad. It has some speed ups, lots of micro tiles, and a bit of an extended cut, I think, but or different cut, at least. But yeah, it's fine. I think I DP'd it like within a few days for sure. And actually, my friend was it was my friend's first extreme perfect sight read. So that was exciting. So I really don't think it's too bad. But yeah. Drifter from the same season, season 28. I think this one is a little bit tricky, definitely has some tricky swipes, especially in the choruses, if you will. It's really not that bad, though. A few tricky rhythms, but and an extended cut, because the song is so dang short, they had to cut it more than it actually is. But, or extend it, not cut it. But yeah, it's pretty middle of the road. Egos, which is an awful deluxe chart, honestly. Time to waste flashbacks. But it's good practice for that chart. It has built up my skill for that chart, so I appreciate it for that. But overall, it's awful. I mean, really. It just ended up in the 3 because I DP'd it like the day I got it. But it was still a tricky one. Really awkward, especially for thumbs. And then some swipes, some rail holds, you name it, a little bit of everything. In some places, it seems. The kids aren't alright, which I'm currently stuck on one perfect, but it felt really undeserved, so I think I can DP it. And the jacks are very painful, especially in the choruses because they're mixed with holds, and has a bunch of jacks in general. But I think it's fun. It's really fun. And yeah, it's really just pretty middle of the road. Also an extended cut at the end there. And Bleed Me Dry, which I got hold ticked on like the day I got it, which was, yeah, obviously a while ago. Honestly, I think that's pretty much what put it at a 3. It wasn't that bad besides the hold tick. Yes, it took me months to DP afterwards, but that's just my luck. It really wasn't like the worst. I think that micro double spam stage 4, I think, is the hardest. The rest of it, besides shaky hands, is really not bad. Now, the 4 stars, again, definitely stepping things up at this point, but not as bad as the 5 and 6s. So, War Machine. This one, well, I guess it was not terrible to DP, but it also kind of was. It took me forever, it felt like. But honestly, a really fun chart. I really love the chart. Although very repetitive and kind of copy and paste. It was alright. My friend also sight read that one, which is incredible, honestly. Symphony of Destruction. Yeah, I really love the chart. It's another really good one. Lots of good charts in the 4 star, but also some awful ones that we'll get to in a bit. I love staircases usually, so this one's really fun. And it has a bit of a tough solo that took me like months to DP, but it really wasn't like the worst. Misery Business, which. Oh, and Symphony of Destruction has a very extended solo, but awesome. Anyway, Misery Business. Yeah, I'm currently stuck on 4 perfects, I think, which is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, another really extended solo. But really awesome chart. Oh my gosh, I love it. I played it. I just got it last night along with Stressed Out Deluxe, my last 2. And I don't know why I saved it for last. It's incredible. Actually, quite fast during that extended part and in general. Yeah, really awesome chart. Love it. I can probably DP it with enough practice. Firestarter, which was a really early extreme DP. Like over a year ago. And I've re-perfected it. but I still think it belongs in the 4-star due to really awkward, tricky rhythms. Really not an amazing chart, but kind of satisfying to play. Enter Sandman, another awesome deluxe chart. But it was pretty tricky to DP. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the worst, but I also got hold ticked, I believe, by 6 points. So yeah, it's a tricky one for that. Pretty awful rail hold swipes, whatever it is. But yeah, so much fun. And really not that bad with enough practice. Play, which I thought about putting a lot higher, but for DPing, I really don't think it's terrible. Like, I think I could do it. I'm just too lazy to try for it. I'm stuck on 3 perfects. But yeah, I really don't think it's that bad to DP because it's mostly free swipes. I mean, yeah. The only part that I find really tricky to get all perfect plus is when he says, I want to hear what you got to say, or whatever he's saying there. That part has some really tough rhythms, and I hate them so much. They're so awful to play. My poor thumbs. But this one is even worse. Oh my god, Archangel, however you even say it. Awful, stage 4. Honestly, it's not too bad besides that, but not good by any means. And kind of copy and pasted in certain parts. Really just a swipe fest, doubles. You've got so many awkward rhythms. It's so awful. Thumbs players. This is bad, isn't it? We hate it. Yeah, it's really not good at all. I'm stuck on 2 perfects. I think I can DP it, but stage 4 is going to be a pain. So I'm not trying for it. Anomalies, which was my 200th deluxe DP. It can definitely be tough, a lot tougher than the standard, but yeah, it's really not the worst. And requires pretty good speed / stamina, especially at the end there, that drum roll. And a bit of an extended cut with those swipes. But yeah, incredible chart. So I didn't get too annoyed at it during my failed attempts and many 1 perfect runs. 2 billion, which I DP'd, well, wasn't that long ago, but I got a 1 perfect run, like literally during season 19, which was the season 2 billion was in. And yeah, that was so undeserved. It was right at the end too, during that fast part. Because of shaky hands. So that was frustrating to be stuck on 1 perfect forever. But another really good chart, so I wasn't like the most upset I could have been. And all the small things, which is really double heavy, quite tough, but also an early extreme DP. I haven't reperfected it, but it wasn't that bad. Really not a fan of that chart though. The 5 stars, again, not quite as bad as the 6s, but definitely tough, definitely at the top. Soul Passivation Deluxe. You know, even if you don't own the chart, you're probably aware that it sucks. It's just awful. I mean, you've got those swipes that are hard to even clear. It's no fun. Such a bad chart. I DP'd it, but I have nothing else to say. It's just awful. Thrones of Blood. Yeah, it has some tricky parts for sure. I also have it DP'd, but it has like some speed ups. Very tricky swipes, but that's not really having to do with the DP. Just clearing. I think the cut's just extended at the beginning because you've already got the solo in the standard, so it's just like the same in the deluxe. But it's definitely tougher in the deluxe. And yeah, quite a fast chart, quite a tough chart. Miss Jackson, which is just awful. I think we all know. Very off sync with the rapping, quite drifty, quite terrible. I DP'd it like at the beginning of the school year, which was like not even 6 months ago, but kind of a while ago. So yeah, it was a pretty early DP, but oh my god, I kept choking like at the very end too. And the final stage patterns were just terrible. I haven't played that one in so long. You Spin Me Round, which, yeah, really tricky swipes, especially with these short thumbs. Really not the best, but it is kind of fun to just play. And I put it at a 5 as I really struggled with the speed ups, like the speed up at the end, with the jacks mixed in. Choked there at one point, and that was my one perfect run. But I DP'd it with the perfect plus highlight off, so that was a nice surprise. I usually turn it off when I'm playing for fun, not trying for good scores. Because I just like seeing green when I don't care. Informer. Yeah, another really tricky one with those rap parts, especially stage 4. I DP'd this one like not that long ago. But yeah, it was tough regardless. Really not the best experience. But it was another one I got one perfect on like the day I got it. These ones must be a thing with season 19 extremes, by the way. It's just annoying. I don't like the chart either, even as something to just play. It's pretty awful. And more diagonal swipes that my thumbs hate me for having to play. Godzilla. Wow, I got hold ticked on this, which is the main reason it's a 5-star. Missed it by 11 points. Back in March or April, I think. But then I didn't DP it until, I don't know if it was like between October and December for sure. Yeah, just took me so long. Similar to Bleed Me Dry Deluxe. It's really not fun. And it has some tricky swipes and rap parts that aren't in the standard. So both easier and harder. Regardless, I TP'd the standard first, only like a few days before, but yeah, that just wasn't very fun. The middle, which was my last deluxe to DP of the first batch of 30, so it was a tough one. Mainly that solo in stage 4 that's not in the standard. Really good chart again, but yeah, just not fun to DP. And I choked it at the very end at one point, which was frustrating, because that part's not even that hard, but it is when you're nervous. I Know a Little, which I also DP'd not that long ago. Yeah, definitely harder than the standard. An extended cut, but like the same solo, I think. Really fun chart, but yeah, just really tough. Some swipes, some fast parts, some tricky rhythms, lots of doubles, rail holds, hold swipes, you name it. American Idiot, which was also an early extreme DP for me. Again, like over a year ago. Yeah, I've also, well, technically reperfected it. I missed it by 6 points. I'm so glad I didn't get hold ticked originally. I don't even know how it happened, but it did. And yeah, it's really not, well, I mean, it is difficult, but not for me. And again, this is personal, so honestly, probably could have been a 6 though if this wasn't personal. Give Me Chocolate. Honestly, it's awful. I think we all know those swipes are annoying. Extended cut, but I don't think of the solo. Regardless, the solo is much harder in this than it is in the standard. And yeah, just really annoying. I'm still stuck on 4 or 5 perfects. Embarrassing. Give me some more, which I think I'm stuck on 3 perfects. A lot tougher than the standard, in my opinion. Went up by a few rows. And I don't have like a hard time clearing it, but I have a really hard time scoring on it. And always have. Yeah, a bit of an extended cut. Or a different cut at the end. Or just in general. And yeah, it starts out real easy. 2 really easy stages. It's not even funny. They're just hold swipes with like a few notes. So you're almost guaranteed all perfect plus when you get to this point. But yeah, the rest is kind of a nightmare. Besides the diagonal swipes, really fun. At least. The infamous Be Careful the Fool, Johnny Winter. But I think it is easier than the standard. It's faster, so you automatically want to move fast, especially with a song like this. So that's why the standard is so hard, I think. It's not as fast as, well, your brain makes it out to be. But the deluxe kind of is. Even easier to clear, in my opinion. Although the whole thing is just the solo. But surprisingly, despite the copy and paste from stage 4 and the standard, I think it's an enjoyable chart. Definitely compared to the standard. Yeah, it's okay. And I DP'd it like a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. My Sharona, which I have 1 perfect on. I think I can DP it, but again, too lazy to try right now and too nervous. But really fun chart also. And yeah, I really don't think it, well, yeah, it's hard. And it took me a while to learn how to clear. But yeah, it's not the worst. It has like the whole solo in stage 4 and the final stage. Yeah, could be worse. The 6 stars, again, the final bosses. So, Slumber, which I have DP'd, but it's a very complex chart. Very challenging. Awful microtiles, awful swipes. But I kind of like it to just play. Kind of a nightmare to DP, but yeah. Could be worse. Time to Waste. I think we all know how awful this one is. Definitely, I don't even know how I DP'd it. And had like a 6 perfect score leap, which was so surprising. I was just trying to get 99,900 plus. But I wasn't complaining. I was really surprised, but so happy. Yeah, the final stage is mainly the tough part. The rest isn't even that bad, at least compared to the final stage. Definitely still tricky, but not that bad. Dash Star, which is really swipe intensive, quite tricky rhythms everywhere. And yeah, I also have it DP'd, but it's really not easy. Fun chart though, when you are able to clear it. Bang Bang. I think this is just here because of the hold ticks we all know. I also have it DP'd, but I missed it by 2 points, which was super frustrating. What an ugly score. But yeah, especially on Extreme, that was really bad. But I DP'd it like a few days after, or the day after. It's even kind of tricky in general, especially those speed ups. Huge step up from the standard, but really good chart. Heavy Shadows. Yes, again, I'm one to put it at a 6 star. But this one, it's not actually one stage. It's almost all of it. A lot of swipes. but also a lot of micro tiles, lots of tricky rhythms, just tough in general. I'm stuck on One Perfect, and it's actually my most played deluxe song altogether. It's given me so much trouble to DP, and I'm kind of giving up. Duality. I mean, yeah, we all know. I don't even have to explain, really. I'm stuck on two perfects. And yeah, same with How Be Thy Name, don't really have to explain. I'm stuck on four perfects. And same with TOS. So many of these I don't have to explain. I think I have five perfects on TOS. It's my only extreme below 98,900 plus. But I'm just too lazy to deal with that solo. I can't. I can't. Stand Up Tall. Really swipe intensive, but much like the standard, trickier for me than it is for other people. But that's okay. Really fun chart, actually, besides the excessive middle lane stacking and annoying swipes. But once I got it down enough to clear it consistently, I started liking the chart. And if I didn't already say it, I got 3 perfects yesterday. So I think I can DP it, but yeah, again, just too lazy to try. There are so many of these, I'm just too lazy to try. Avalon, which, oh my god, thumbs players, we know it, it's awful. Just atrocious. Seriously. And you have like 2 long parts of the atrocious part. And also the choruses are not fun. Yeah, and I think you've got double the jacks in one of them. The one with the rail hold, I think you still just have one. Maybe 2 in some of them? I don't know. But yeah, I think I have 3 perfects on that one too. It's really just, I don't think I can do it. Sweatbox. Yeah, another intense chart. I've had 4 perfects since like the day I got it somehow. But yeah, I'm not improving it. It's really difficult. Really repetitive, really intense. Even worse than the standard. A lot more swipes, which I still have some trouble clearing sometimes. Really just not the best chart. And same with Plasma. Intense swipes. Fast. Stuck on 4 perfects. All of it is the same, basically. And they're both EDM songs. Painful charts there. Lots of tough rhythms. N95, also a 6-star, just like the standard. Interesting to see that with the hip hop songs. This and Stand Up Tall are 6 stars for both versions, in my opinion. But yeah. More painful swipes. And an extended cut, but not a difficult part. The ending is actually kind of copy and paste. I don't know what you call it, but the high-pitched parts, that's like the same. But the rest of it changed, and painful swipes. Painful doubles with the, I guess you could call them staircases. Painful doubles in like the middle of those. Really awful for thumbs players and probably in general. And the mother load. This one I have 3. Oh, and I have 2 in N95, by the way. This one I have 3. Yeah, the solo is much tougher than the standard. I have a hard time clearing it still sometimes, honestly. Just not because I'm not fast enough, because I can't get the rhythms down. Really just a tricky one. And yeah, definitely a 6 in my opinion. And the beginning has a different cut with those drum rolls, which is tricky with the swipes mixed in. So yeah, that's my deluxe extreme tier list personal DP difficulty. I hope you enjoyed all of these tier lists. I am going to get a lot more out in the future, or try. And I will explain in the description what my plan is, because it's so hard to do it verbally right now. I can't think straight enough. But yeah, as always, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.